Hey guys, so we had a pretty choppy day. I was honestly kind of surprised a little bit by the overall strength that we showed pre-market here, and then obviously we gave it up before we opened there. But honestly, today was just a pretty just chopped day. I mean, we only had a $3.13 range. We had this pretty good move up here that just sort of died out right around this $3.99 area, and then you can see we went into just an impressive high a day to low a day sell-off. The most impressive was the fact that we had a $1.20 drop on the last minute candle. That was something to watch for sure. So taking a look at the daily here, what we have is we established a supply zone right here at 396.42 on Friday. And then we had previously on Thursday established a demand zone at 400.6, on Thursday at 400.6. We did come up and touch it after losing that. So currently what we're basically doing here is we're rejecting this previous 400.6 demand. And now after establishing a supply down here, which generally is backwards, we should have a demand and then a supply up here. We are looking to push down. So with this supply being down here, my thoughts are we're going to see a downside push where we either retest this demand or we're going to establish a new demand in this area right here. Biggest thing to note here is that we're obviously still in a downtrend. We attempted once again to get back over the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA. We're not able to do that. We re-lost the 100 EMA. So currently tomorrow the 8 is going to cross under the 200, which will be bearish. So basically right now what we're looking at is we have a support here at 396.3, followed by support at 395.4, and from there it's a pretty good free fall down here to the 390 range. Our closest demand is 388.7 to the downside, and then up here after this supply, we don't really have much until way up there in the 415, but we have tons of demands up here that we are currently below. So really until SPY establishes a new demand and holds that demand, as you see we established and then immediately lost it, I remain pretty bearish here, on SPY at least. Key upside resistance for me to change to bullish would first be a 400 break, and then after that, closing over 400.6, that would make me bullish. Or I guess I would say less bearish. And then that's what I would look for an upside. But until that happens or we establish a new demand down here and bounce off that, I just remain pretty much neutral to bearish, I would say. Taking a look at futures here, futures gives a little bit better and a little bit more smooth of a picture. So we have this demand from Friday at 39.75. We bounced off it. We attempted to break through 420 supply, was not able to do that, and instead we actually established a new supply at 39.90, which we did attempt to get over, and we were holding over that for most of the day today, but instead we actually bearishly engulfed yesterday's candle and closed on the previous demand. So when this new futures candle opened, which looking at SPY right now after hours, we're kind of flat to neutral, or we are lower than where we closed. I wouldn't be surprised to see us attempt to turn 39.75 demand into actual resistance, which again will be pretty bearish. From here, if we lose 39.75 demand, the closest demand is down here at 39.15. However, if we happen to bounce and we can break through supply here at 39.90, then we would go for that 40.20. Same thing with SPY. I remain pretty bearish overall until we close back over realistically 40.20. But here on futures, you can see we are rejecting the 200 EMA. We closed under the 100 EMA again. The 8 has already crossed below the 200, which hasn't happened in over a month. So we're clearly in a very bearish downtrend right here. And really, I don't think there's a reason to bet against that yet. Taking a look at Tesla here. So I actually was a little surprised to see the weakness out of Tesla today. It had a pretty strong open, and it just pretty much sold off after that. I mean, a couple things like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and AMD did finish red today, but Google and Amazon were slightly green. Definitely a little surprised, though, by Tesla. Tomorrow's Tesla's Investors Day, so I was kind of looking more for a bigger upside push. I really thought we might try to go to this 215 level or 214 level, which is the 200 EMA, but showing weakness here is interesting. So this definitely might become a buy the rumor, sell the news event here on Tesla. Biggest things to note is that we still have this demand level from Friday at 196.4, and then we have established a new supply yesterday at 207.6. So this should, with us closing below it after attempting to break out, should act as nice resistance, and this should be our upside resistance area that we're looking at. So, which kind of goes along with everything we were looking at last week, that we pretty much are just trading in this 209 to, I mean, really 196 range. And it's just basically, we're just stuck. It's just massive consolidation here after this huge upside push that we had, which makes sense. So pretty much until we close under 196.4, it's tough to want to bet fully against Tesla right here. But also with us having a supply here at 207.6 as resistance, a supply at 214.4, which is a 200 EMA as resistance, and then another one up here at 224. I really don't think this is a good place to go long on Tesla. I wouldn't be surprised, unless we get a pretty good market-wide sell-off, I wouldn't be surprised to more or less just see Tesla consolidate for the next couple days, if not weeks, until we get a bigger upside move, which it'll either a bigger upside move or down, depending on what CPI does. Taking a look at the VIX here. So I was a little surprised by the VIX. We had that huge $3 drop today on SPY end of day, and the VIX didn't really do much. So we actually closed another red day on SPY with a red VIX, which again does not happen too often. We did close back below the 8 EMA, but we did bounce off the 20 EMA and previous 2020 support. So we could look for a breakout here. And you see we do have the real nice breakout triangle started here. So we have our bull channel that we're in. Tomorrow, key level to watch would be that 20 level, and then obviously 20.7, which we should open over, and that should provide upside VIX movement and downside SPY movement. Take a look at Bitcoin. So we already knew it had lost this support line. I just really haven't updated it. But we are pushing back down. We are about to see an 8 under the 20 EMA crossover, which is obviously bearish. And we are holding this 23.5 as resistance and the 8 EMA as resistance. So we should close this candle down here. And realistically, we're going to need to see a breakthrough of this 23.1 level and closing under that, and to open the downside here on Bitcoin. But with Bitcoin showing decent weakness, with SPY showing weakness, that's a fairly good bet that we are going to see continued downside. And really until crypto starts pushing back up, or SPY, like I said, gets over 400.6, or futures over 40.20 and closes, I remain bearish.